You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now.
Hello, welcome back to Tifo IRL. I'm JJ Bull, and in this video, I am joined by Mark Carey, who's a doctor, but doesn't like to talk about it, and he's trapped inside a bar chart.
That's right. I didn't think you were going to share that I was a doctor, but thank you.
So the bar chart you're trapped in, can you tell me what that is?
Yes, it's different from a scattergram. It's quite intuitive to look at, right? It's just that higher is, well, not always better, and that's something we're going to come on to, but it's more intuitive to see more down the list, I suppose.
Cool. And this bar chart is going to tell us that not every team has to press loads.
Mark Carey is trapped inside a bar chart. Mark Carey is trapped inside a bar chart. This week it's not a scattergram, now it's a bar chart. Mark Carey is also a doctor.
Okay, this bar chart has lovely colours, and so I'm interested. And I see the top. What does this tell us? What does this mean?
So essentially we're looking at the pressing styles of teams across the top 5 European leagues. So essentially of all of the total pressures that each team makes, what is the percentage of them that's in the final third? So a proxy of who presses high, basically, when they're given the opportunity to do so.
So these teams here are all the ones that press high, is that right?
Yeah, and I say when they've got the opportunity to do so, because if we were to just look at the raw number of pressures, then teams who actually have lower possession would be higher at the list. So it's out of the pressures that they do make, what proportion are actually in the final third.
Right, so like a team who's actually bad, like, to say it, Newcastle,
Yeah.
right? So they don't press very much because they tend to sit deep and counter-attack, right? So they'll often like engage mostly at like halfway, something like this sort of area here, rather than like Man City, who engage in a similar shape actually, like up the pitch like this, to try and stop a team from playing out from the back. But that's because they're doing it more often. They engage deeper. Am I all off here?
Kind of, yeah. Well, when they've got the opportunity to do so, they will press more often high up. But interestingly, Newcastle, yeah, their proportion of pressures in the final third is one of the lowest across the whole of the top 5 European leagues. So you're absolutely right that they do kind of sit back. But I just mean that if in the raw number, Newcastle could essentially be higher than Manchester City in the raw number that they make, but it's because they don't have the ball that much. So you're more likely to press when you don't have the ball. But as a share of the whole opportunities to press, that's kind of where it is.
Manchester City are top of the list. Now, they obviously press a lot, right? PSG are second on this list that you've sent from the universe that you're in, and but I don't think they press that much. So it's interesting to me that they're second there.
Yeah, I think that sort of feeds into the fact that they are so dominant as a team that they've got the most possession of anyone in the French league as well. So it's simply, I think, because they have the players who can just quickly get it back. Even though they don't actually have it, they don't even lose the ball that much. So I think it's just kind of that. Maybe the quality of the teams as well. We've sort of seen it in the Champions League. They haven't looked as strong in terms of pressing from the front, probably because they've come up against better opposition.
Right, so then if we look at all the good teams who are here, Man City, PSG, Athletic Bilbao are doing well this season. Wouldn't call them one of the best teams. Liverpool, Bayern Munich, obviously, Arsenal are in there, they're all right. But Aston Villa are in the listed here, but they're not doing very well this season. So it could be that they're trying to make this high press, but it's not actually working for them because they're leaving themselves open. So for example, like with Villa, what they tend to do is they play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 or even a 3-5-2 this season. They played a lot, I think. But when you pressure high, naturally you leave lots of space between you. So if you're playing against a good team and they just are able to open up wide, they can get the ball very quickly, and if you don't get the pressure right, they can put it back here, find an option, and then straight away, you're going to leave like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players can be taken out of the game very quickly, and you can isolate a winger versus a fullback, and then teams are able to get at you. And I've lost the ball, so it's there. But then you get to these guys here, and straight away you can get overloads and you can get attacks on them, and that might be that you don't have to press high to be successful, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and exactly that as well. That's Aston Villa's maybe their style, but it doesn't show the success there. It just shows what they tend to do. And as you say, because they're not doing so well at the moment, potentially it's not really working that well.
That makes sense. Okay, but there's teams missing from this that you think to hammer home the point that not everyone has to press. Chelsea, who I thought did press, are not here. Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, they're very good. What's up with them?
Yeah, again, it comes down to style. I think that I think Chelsea, we spoke about them, I think they're about 26th on the list, so this is the top 20. I think that Manchester United are about 54th. I think that Real Madrid are about 46th. So there's very little to choose between them when you get lower down. They're all about kind of average. I think the average across the top 5 European leagues is about 23% of the pressures that any team makes is in the final third. So about average is 23. They're all kind of there or thereabouts. So you could say arguably that a lot of those teams that we refer to who aren't on this list are about sort of average for the top 5 European leagues. But there's more than one way to defend, as you say.
Right, so some managers are just kind of get the balance right. You don't have to use up energy by pressing high. You can engage in a different way. And because teams like Real Madrid and Chelsea have more of the ball, maybe that just changes the way they want to pressure in different areas.
Yeah, it could be. It's completely stylistic. Also, I'd say as well, as we've said before, because there's only 11 games played, give or take, these things might be a little bit clearer or a little bit more pronounced as the season goes on. So with my statistical hat on, give it time and this might change throughout the season.
I'm hoping that the editor has CGI'd a hat onto you now. One last thing before we go. Burnley are the same as RB Leipzig.
That is interesting. That is absolutely interesting. I think as well, there's a more general point of just how many Premier League teams there are in this top 20 list as well. So it maybe shows kind of stylistically across the league that in order to, as you know, the team style is to look to press high. I think there's 7 Premier League teams in this top 20.
So Villa, Burnley, you can see them on your graph, can't you? Southampton, Brighton, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. That's good.
More than in any of the leagues. So I think that's quite interesting just in terms of the start. And anyone coming into the league as well, if you're signing, summer signing, and a forward player at that, are you the type of player who is going to press? And if you're not, would the team go for you?
Which is maybe why so many players do well that come from Germany, because they're used to that sort of style of play. Is that right?
Yeah, and German managers being in the Premier League as well. Does it feed into each other? Yeah.
You see, it helps to be connected and not isolated. Let's move on. That's all we're going to look at for this bar chart thing, and we'll see you next time, assuming that you're still going to be trapped. Did you manage to escape the scattergram? Why are you in the bar chart?
It's just the next door.
There's more rooms. Cool, we'll find out what the next room is next time.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.